Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today I'm going to tell you why you are wasting your time with your camera. Let's start. So when I start like this, very often some people start commenting before listening to the video. They just make some speculation about what I'm going to say. So please, before commenting, listen to what I have to say and then give your opinion. But first, listen to what I'm saying, okay? So if you want, okay? No obligation, obviously you can go if you want, okay? So the thing is, the way we use our cameras and our cameras themselves make us waste a lot of time and make that we don't concentrate on what we should concentrate on, which is making the picture itself, the photograph itself, okay? So I'm going to give you point by point my opinion and why this is happening. So let's carry on. In this video I will compare some things we used to do with a film camera maybe, or older cameras, and what we do now, because you see that modern camera are actually affecting the way we make pictures, and we waste many really important seconds, okay? So let's see. First, exposure. That sounds incredible what I'm going to say, but you should not care so much about the exposure. Obviously the exposure must be right, but I see people like you make a picture of me, like right now, make a portrait, and you make like 50 pictures, and some people, for every picture, they check exposure again. Nothing has changed. There's no cloud, there's nothing new, light is still the same. Why are you checking the exposure before each picture? It doesn't make sense. If nothing has changed, there's no reason to check the exposure all the time. So if your first picture is fine, the rest will be fine. Obviously I speak about the same series, same situation. If you go somewhere else, obviously you have to do it again. When you look at film photographers, street photographers especially, they take they take a light meter. Very often they measure in their hand to know more or less the light that will be in the face of people, and unless they're there like 5 hours or a lot of time, there are clouds coming and going away, maybe we'll change exposure. But otherwise, that's it, stays there, no problem. The exposure is calculated, and if the scene is not changing, there's no reason to be checking the exposure all the time. I see people that really obsessed with the small bar in the viewfinder, and they all the time fine-tuning. The only thing you should take care in digital photography is that the highlights are not overexposed, because that's a big problem. This is the hole in your picture, there's no solution, okay? But this is what you should actually check. But otherwise, even if you see the small bar indicator in your viewfinder that goes a bit more to the right and not to the extreme right, then there's no problem. Everything is solvable in post-production, no problem. If it's really underexposed, same thing. If it goes really underexposed, that's a problem. A bit is no drama, okay? So forget about that. And if you're not too sure about this, or you're not self-confident, you have two options. One is to use semi-automatic, like aperture priority or speed priority, and then the camera will calculate for you. And the other one is to do bracketing. If you have a modern camera, you can do bracketing. Like you make your first picture with the right exposure, and then an extra one with one stop over, and the other one stop under, or 2/3, or 2/3 under, or 2/3 over. It doesn't matter. But still, don't be so obsessed about exposure between each picture. If the situation is not changing, nothing to worry about. Actually, when I do a wedding photography, if I'm in the church and I look at the bride and the groom, this area will not change during the whole wedding. There's nothing to worry. My first picture is properly exposed, the rest will be exposed. So you can work in manual mode and leave it there, don't touch it anymore. By the way, I've got a video that explains how to expose in manual mode, okay? But if you do it, don't worry about it. That's it, don't be obsessed with this. Second, the use of zoom lens. Zoom lens were invented for lazy people, but not for lazy people who don't want to move their body. They're made for lazy people who don't want to change lenses. So it means that when you actually try to frame using a zoom lens, like you adjust the framing, moving a bit this way, that way, it takes ages. This is a lot faster to get your camera and you lean a bit forward or a bit backward and then you adjust the frame on the fly. You say, it fits, I make it. Very often when I see people touching the zoom, they spend minutes or seconds, which in photography a second is really important, because this second will never exist again. So if you don't capture it right now, you will not have it, okay? So they waste a lot of time, and they miss pictures because they were adjusting the framing. With the zoom, just move your body a bit forward, a bit backward, and that's it. Obviously, there are situations when the zoom is needed. Let's say, like maybe a ceremony where they don't let you come closer, or move too much, or you adjust with the zoom. Or you do wildlife photography. If you move yourself, you move your body, the animal maybe will run away, so maybe you miss it. So obviously, you adjust with the zoom. Okay, that's fine. But most people, they actually playing with the zoom all the time and miss picture. A zoom should be used like several prime lenses. If I've got like 12 to 40 millimeter, like on my Olympus, which is like 24 to 80, I use it like 24, 50 and 80 millimeters, and I don't go intermediate. I move my body, and that's it. And if you have a really long zoom, like 18 to 200 for example, use it like 5 prime lenses, and that's it. But don't be touching the zoom all the time, you miss out pictures, because it takes ages to do that. Point 3, focusing points. I use only one, and I reframe. I see some people, you look at their camera, you look at the viewfinder, it looks like a Christmas tree. They have light all over the place, and they explain to you, yeah, but when the person is there, I can actually move the focusing point, and then I can select another one, or the guy is gone, or the animal is gone, or if it's portrait, the face that person was making at this moment is gone also. You missed it. So it's, except for some situation, it's almost always better to use a single point and reframe. So I focus and I reframe. If I don't want the person to be in the center, I reframe. Or I use one focal point and I place it for the whole series where it has to go. But I'm not selecting all the time what point to use, okay? So reframing may have one problem. If the subject or the object or whatever you're making pictures is really close, that may be a bit of a problem, because if it's really close, the distance from the center and the border is different. So if I actually reframe, then the distance is not the same. So that part will be out of focus when I center it after. But otherwise, so you should place the point exactly where it has to go. But otherwise, just reframe. That's really faster. And if you want something to help you from your modern camera, maybe you can use face detection. If you make pictures of people, detect or eye detection, and maybe that would help in some situation. Not all face and eye detection work really well, but that will probably help. But otherwise, just reframe. And otherwise, you can also do what we were doing many years ago. And when, like, let's say a car race, you have the cars that coming all at the same points. So why are you following the car, trying to have the autofocus cope with the speed and try to focus at the right second? You could pre-focus exactly where the car will pass. You have the first car, second car, 10th car. The 11th one will go through the same place. So you pre-focus there, you lock your focus, whether it's your back focus button or normal trigger, and then you can follow the car, and you know when it will be where you want to shoot, it will be in focus, and that's it. Even if you want to do some panning, you can do that. Panning when you have the car in focus and the rest is blurred because you move, okay? You pre-focus there, you lock the focusing, and then you move, and then you trigger at the right second. So if you're using all these focusing points at the same time, unless you really have a good camera, and not all of them, you will probably miss out many pictures, many of them. Point number 4, the viewfinder. Many people actually speak about viewfinder as if it was a window where you must see the picture before it's made. Now, viewfinder is not something to see the picture when it's made. It's something to help you in two ways. One is information, data is like exposure information, ISO, speed you've selected, aperture you've selected, type of autofocus, all data your camera is giving you, okay? And second, this is a tool to check the framing is right. That's it, the framing. Because the composition, you must see it before looking through your viewfinder. Even the framing, you can actually preview your picture, see how it goes, and frame. When you get your camera, you adjust your framing, but you know exactly you are at the right place, you know how it goes, and you see how the picture will be. Your composition is decided, the thematic, the light, the exposure, everything is calculated, and this viewfinder is just to check that everything is right. And where your picture starts and when it finishes, where are the borders, and that's it. So I know it's more, it's nicer to have a nice viewfinder when you really see clearly in there, but it's not something that make you a better picture. Make you a better picture is seeing the picture before, okay? And actually, when you look at TV cameras, many of them, they have black and white viewfinders where you have zebra that tell you if it's highlight or shadows, and also focus picking, but they don't need even color for that. So these people have been working like this for years and they have no problem with that. Point number 5. Although I don't do what I'm going to say, I know it's time consuming. Now we can work with RAW files or JPEG, okay? If it's true that in film photography the lab time was a lot of time, okay, if you were doing it yourself. But we spend a lot of time in post-production, editing, or simply developing RAW files, and most of our picture could be right at from the first second in JPEG. But we get used to working RAW file, and we start to have a lack of confidence, and we think that if it's not RAW file, we will not be able to make the right picture. That's not true. Many pictures could be okay in JPEG straight away, and what we could do also is work JPEG with RAW plus RAW file, and if the JPEG is not good, or it's limit, overexposed, underexposed, or whatever, you rectify the RAW file in this case. But there are more and more people working just JPEG. Actually, when you look at press photographers who work for Reuters, the press agency, they tell them they have to work in JPEG, no RAW file, just JPEG, and they save a lot of time because they send the picture directly to the agency, nothing to do in post-production, no RAW file developing, nothing. And I see that normally I work only RAW file, normally with my Olympus cameras, I always work with RAW file, but now with my Fujifilm X100V, when I do film simulation, it's only JPEG. And if you really take care of your exposure, normally that's fine. You don't have to do much behind or nothing behind. So honestly, I think we waste a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And the time we're in front of the computer with that is some time we don't use to do something else, okay? Point 6, that really consumes a lot of time, is checking the LCD. I see many people, they make a picture, they check, other picture, they check, other picture, they check. Forget the LCD screen. You check it when you make a series of pictures. You check the first picture or the second also to make sure the exposure is right, framing is okay, all this. But then forget about the screen. You concentrate and you make picture and make your picture, and that's it. And that's it. The problem is we are not self-confident, so we feel like we have to check all the time. And it's strange because in film photography you could not check all the time. Just when it was all finished, you develop the picture. And also, if you look at the Fujifilm X Pro 3, that they have a screen but it's covered, you have to open it to check. People who buy that kind of camera, they don't actually need to check the screen. Or people who bought the Leica M, I don't know which one, that is there's no screen in the back, okay, no screen at all. If you want to check your picture, you must use your smartphone or download the picture, okay, and they have no problem with that. And the more you train not checking your screen all the time, the more you will be concentrated on making the next picture, and the more you will be confident about your capability of framing, exposing, all this. And also, when I see people who do like a picture of portraits, they make picture, they check and they walk around and this, but maybe right now that person has another face, a smile or a bit sad, a nice expression you could capture, but you're not there, you're checking your screen. So you could be there, you know the framing is fine, You just have to concentrate and wait for the right moment and keep your camera here and click again, and that's it. And then after you can check, but don't check between each picture. And if you have to check, don't move around. Just put your camera a bit down to make sure it's okay, so you don't lose where you were, the heights, the distance. You don't change it. So if you want to repeat the picture, you with the same framing, same distance, all this, you have it. If you walk around checking your screen, you lose it. So it's really important this. Don't check your screen all the time. You don't need to. Last point, number 7. Could be like 10, 20, 50 points maybe. Well, we're not going to be at Christmas here, okay? So we'll do something else, other videos for Christmas, okay? So the last point is that it has to do with screens checking in another way. You're with your kid at the park and you play and have fun and you make pictures of your kid playing, okay? And then it's time to go and have some a small snack, to eat something, drink something, and then your kid is there eating his sandwich or whatever, and you're checking the picture you've made of him. And he's eating his sandwich, and you're checking. Or you go traveling, and you get to the hotel with the person with you, or many, or one, or whatever, and you get to the hotel and you check all the pictures you've made during the day. And you're not speaking to that person, not doing much with that person, just checking. This screen is killing the moment, because time is one thing, but moment is what you do in a certain time. And the moment of making picture is the moment of making picture. But then the moment to enjoy time with your kid is enjoy time with your kid, not your kid seeing a father or a mother that is checking a screen all the time. And he has no idea of what you have to say, don't speak, don't this. You're spoiling the moment, okay? So forget about your pictures. You get to the hotel, you see the picture, the sunset picture you've made are no good. What are you going to do? Tell the sun to come out again and set again and make picture again right now? No, it's impossible. You cannot do it anymore. Your kid is not in the park anymore. What are you going to do? Doesn't matter. That's too late to check these pictures. That's done, okay? That made. That's it. Forget about them. Enjoy the moment now. Actually, I was following a YouTuber who was doing a street photography, digital street photography, and he stopped and he moved on film photography again, because he said, when I get to the hotel, I spend 2-3 hours checking the picture I've made during the day, and I don't enjoy my travel, I don't enjoy the city, I don't enjoy the food, I don't enjoy anything. I went back to film photography, and when the roll of film is finished, goes to my pocket, I start living, enjoying, being a tourist, being a visitor, enjoying life. And I fully agree with that. Okay, obviously if it's your business, maybe you have to check pictures to send them to a client or whatever. That's another story. Many professionals also, when they get to a hotel, they put the camera in their bag and start enjoying life. So same thing. Well, that's it. These were my point of view about wasting time because of our cameras and the way we use them. So I hope you like the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The small button down here and also a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, Gibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links to other part of my YouTube channel, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.